Hi guys, I'm Daniel and this is Next. So the 2007 white MacBook, a great little machine, and in fact one of the first Macs I ever put my hands on. It was the first time that I'd ever typed on a Mac keyboard. It was the first time I'd ever looked at a Mac screen. It was the first time I had ever looked at the Mac OS operating system. Now at this point, in 2007, we were on 10.5, transitioning to 10.6, and it was great. I loved the OS. I was getting very fluent with it, and I loved messing about with it. I loved playing in iMovie. It was a great machine, and by the way, this was iMovie 06 at this point because we're at mid 2007, so we're talking a way back. The feel of the keyboard on this guy, you know, the nice 1280 by 800 display, and believe me, that doesn't sound much today, but in 2007, that was a godsend from the 1366 by 768 panels. I know it doesn't sound much higher, but realistically Apple's displays were just much higher quality displays overall, a lot more colourful, a lot more vibrant, a lot brighter. You know, they were just smashing it on the market at the time. With the white MacBook, there came some things that I decided I couldn't live without. Now one of those at the time was FireWire. FireWire was something that Apple implemented more than anyone else. FireWire was how Apple wanted you to connect their webcams, how they wanted you to connect their hard drives. Now this time FireWire 400 was around. That was the main king on the block, but it was actually faster than USB 2.0. Now FireWire 400 is rated at 400 megabit, and USB 2 is rated at 480 megabit, but realistically USB kind of lagged behind due to some protocol issues. Now I found this kind of baffling at the time, but also kind of cool that Apple, you know, were sticking it to the man and doing something better than what the universal serial bus could do. Not knowing that Apple didn't actually create FireWire, but they had just implemented it. Now, also on the MacBook was another feature that I just couldn't live without today. And one of the main reasons I haven't upgraded my MacBook, and that is MagSafe. MagSafe, I think, was brilliant, and I think Apple shouldn't have killed it off because it's just a great thing. There are so many times when I have had a laptop sat on the edge of a bed or sat on the edge of a unit, and either me, my parents, or my animals have managed to kick the cable free, and you know, if it wasn't a MagSafe connector, the laptop would have been on the floor in a million pieces. Or the charging port would have been knackered, which I do have a laptop with a knackered charging port for exactly that reason. So MagSafe here, MagSafe, you have saved my bacon, my friend. That is one great port. So you can see on this machine we have, in fact I'll show you now, we have MagSafe 1, or the first generation of MagSafe. We have Gigabit Ethernet, we have Mini DVI, we have FireWire 400, we have USB 2.0, USB 2.0, audio in, optical audio out, and a Kensington lock. And on this side, we have our good old-fashioned slot loading drive. That's another thing that Apple did, is the slot loading drive was on pretty much every machine at this point, and the slot loading drive was just simply better. Their super drives that were in these are great. Unfortunately, this model I have here only has the combo drive, but the super drives that were put in these things for DVD and CD writing were great. They were above everyone else in terms of mobile, you know, mobile laptop and notebook stuff on the go. Now, on to the main part of this video. Can you use this mid-2007 computer in 2019? This is a 12-year-old machine, and personally I think we can. I have updated it as far as it will go to 10.7.5 macOS, which is Lion. I have put some apps on it. I've put Google Chrome on it. Unfortunately, Google Chrome is out of date. It's no longer supported, but it runs everything fine. Well, that's what I've seemed to find out anyway. And also, I've put things like Final Cut Pro on here. Final Cut Pro 10 actually goes on here, but only the very, very early version. So we're on 10.0.8. As well as that, I've put iMovie 2011 or iMovie 11. which is version 9.0.9. I have also put on Office 2011, seeing as though the next version of Office, which is 2016, 2019, I can't remember which one it is for macOS, but that doesn't support this older operating system, so only 2011, but that works totally fine. So something that I didn't mention is the specs of the machine that I have right here. So I have a 2 GHz Intel Core 2 Duo. I have 3 GB of 667 MHz DDR2. I also have a 256 gig hard drive in here. I believe it's running at 7200 RPM, as well as the 1280 by 800 display, and of course the wonderful Apple keyboard. This version that I have here, or this laptop here, has had a replacement battery, so it actually does get some battery life. Most people don't like having the replacements because they're scared by them, but personally, if it works, it works. I mean, you wouldn't get scared if you replaced a battery on a Windows laptop, but when you replace one on a Mac and the white doesn't match, which you can kind of see this one doesn't, people get terrified. Anyway, I think we should stick it on the bench behind me and we should have a look at what you can do with a 2007 MacBook. Okay, so here we have the 2007 MacBook. Mine has a display that's not really doing as well as it should. We'll turn down this light here. So let's just go and have a look. So you can see here, 10.7.5, 2 GHz, 3 gigs of RAM, Macintosh. So also this has the GMA 950, which is pretty terrible, but you know, we have to deal with these things. But there you go, 13-inch mid 2007, all your specs, your display, and there's storage, which I'm terrified about. But yeah, this one unfortunately doesn't have a super drive, this model. Someone spec'd it down to the just the combo drive, because I guess not everyone needs a super drive. So Google Chrome works totally fine. It is a little bit out of date, yep, but realistically for general browsing, for anyone that's doing anything online, look, this computer will no longer get updates, yep, we know that. But if you just want to say like go to eBay, it's not totally unusable. So you can still, you know, browse around. We can search road, because video person. We can then go to YouTube. Something that I should point out is to make this guy run YouTube correctly and not to be an absolute pain in the backside. I have, in fact, installed something in Chrome called H.264ify, which basically cuts down the amount of power that it needs to run YouTube. So yeah, it works. YouTube works fine. So another thing that we have here is Photoshop. I installed Photoshop CS6, which is actually kind of a modern version of Photoshop. Not totally anymore, seeing as though we've had very many iterations of Photoshop CS, whatever. But yeah, totally fine. Works totally fine. I'm not going to open up anything because I haven't got anything on this machine, but Photoshop works completely fine. I was testing it out. Also, of course, we have Final Cut Pro. Now, Final Cut Pro does take its time, but I am only on 3 gigs of RAM. This machine can actually support up to 6, I believe. No issues. So you can see here, Final Cut Pro, version 10. It'll tell me the graphics isn't supported on this, but realistically that doesn't actually matter. So yeah, even Final Cut Pro, after it has a bit of a minute loading, comes up, the CD drive checks if there's anything in it for importing media. And I did actually try editing something on this and it does work totally fine. So also here we have Microsoft Word. As you can see, it's starting to bounce. Word Mac 2011. So my camera doesn't know what to do with focusing. I guess it's the glare on the screen. So as we can see, Word Mac opens and there you go, comes up. You can write hello there. So yeah, everything works as it should. It's going to ask if I want to save. No, I do not. So yeah, it's a great machine. I can do day-to-day stuff on it, no problem. Like I can, you know, clean the machine up using Clean My Mac, which is a utility. I'll open up Google Chrome, I'll open up Photoshop, I'll open up a Word document. I'll go to YouTube, go to Amazon, can't spell today, but yeah, I think this machine does perfectly well in browsing. In just day-to-day tasks, yeah, it's a little bit out of date, but you know, you can still do everything that you need to do on it. You know, you can still open up tabs, you can still, you know, be editing a photo whilst, you know, going online to check something. You can then carry on with your Word document that you were editing before. You know, it does its job. It's going to start with the fans now. Yes, it does lag here and there, but that's something that's going to happen with just due to the age of this machine. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut this little guy down, and we're going to go back to the outro. Okay guys, so the 2007 white MacBook. What do I think of it in 2019? Should you buy it? If you have one, yes. If you find one cheap, yes. If you need a laptop really for proper, like your first laptop, day-to-day tasks are starting to get a little bit long in the tooth on it, and no for most people. It's a great laptop, don't get me wrong, and I only got this one for this video. I no longer had one of these in the house, but you know, it can still do a lot of things. You can still browse Amazon, you can still, you know, watch YouTube videos, you can still edit, you know, edit photos on this. You try and find me another 2007 laptop that you can open up Photoshop on and it go, yep, that's fine, that's totally fine with me. I don't think you'll find many. Also the fact that you can edit video on this, 720p and even 1080p video if you push it, you can edit on this laptop. And that's pretty amazing, just due to the fact that, well, you know, this is a 12-year-old laptop and it still works perfectly fine. Yes, it's a little bit out of date, I admit, but there is a way to make it not so out of date, and that's to put Windows on it. You can put Windows 10 on one of these things just fine, the same as you can any Core 2 Duo laptop. You could put 6 gigs of RAM in here and you could have this as a day-to-day machine. Yes, you wouldn't be able to use, you wouldn't be able to, you know, edit on Final Cut Pro, but you know, for day-to-day tasks, I think it would do perfectly fine. So yeah, the 2007 white MacBook, great machine. Wouldn't really recommend one in 2019. I would go for something like a 2009 MacBook or MacBook Pro. You will get a lot more power and a lot more up-to-date and compatibility with one of those. This is limited at 10.7.5, which nothing supports anymore. All the apps on here are old versions. So yeah, honestly, I would go for something like a 2009. Yes, it's a bit more expensive, but realistically, if you're on a cheap laptop brain, not necessarily should you be looking at a MacBook in honesty. So guys, if you liked the video, then please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't like the video, then this button also exists, but if you did hit the dislike button, please tell me down in the comment section below why. Also, while you're in the bottom half of this video, please tell me any comments, questions, ideas, any thoughts about the laptop, about me, about any questions that you have in general. Please head down there as well. Also, while you're in the bottom half of the video, go to the description where you will find links to the equipment used in this video. Also, maybe an eBay link to go and see if you can find one of these things for sale. And also links to my social media, Snapchat, Instagram and Facebook. Anyway guys, I've been Daniel, this has been Dan's Tech World, this has been the 2007 white MacBook, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.